How's it going, Nate?
Oh, hey. Well, this is fortuitous. I've got the last tulip bulb. And now I'll show you how to plant. And that's how we planted 60,000.
So what is this video about?
Well, we just finished planting 60,000, roughly, tulips. And, of course, this is my wife's farm. And she's hired me to do most of the planting, which I did. And that's not really true. Actually, there's another video, I think, where we hired a bunch of people to plant them. But that's neither here nor there. So, we've got roughly 60,000 tulips out there. And a lot of people have asked me, not really, but I figure they want to know, how do you plant so many tulips? And it's like I tell them with anything. It's just one at a time.
So that's a lot of time spent planting. What goes through your mind?
Well, you got a lot of time on your hands, a lot of time to think when you're out there. And I'll give you an example. For instance, just this morning, I thought a lot about that taffy machine that you see like when you go into Gatlinburg and they got the glass window and they're making saltwater taffy. How it folds the taffy over and over and you don't really know what's going on and how it's doing it, but you just know you look like an idiot when you're sitting there watching the machine. And it's just an example of what random thoughts that are meaningless can run through your mind.
So what do you enjoy most about planting tulips?
Well, there's really only three motions when you're planting tulips. After you get the bed prepared and get the soil ready, you've got motion number one, which is taking your hand and driving it into the soil, because it's much easier than a spade. Motion number two is taking the tulip bulb and placing it at the bottom of the hole that you just drove your hand into to create. And then motion number three is to then cover the tulip bulb. And I find covering the tulip bulb is the most satisfying.
Okay, well tell me a little bit about the farm.
Well, your farm was created, I guess, about 7-8 years ago. 7-8 years ago. We'll call it 8. And it's been a lot of work. It really is not for the faint-hearted. And you really will not make any money for a long time. But the satisfaction of getting dirty and working very hard and getting nothing in return is really, it's something I would recommend to everybody.
How long do you think we'll continue farming?
I reckon until we go broke.
Do you have any issues with animals getting in?
The battle against deer has been non-stop. Now this is all seriousness. You got to have a proper fence. You can't just assume that they'll leave your stuff alone, because that didn't work for a couple of years for us. We figured out how to finally keep the deer out by doing what's called a double fence. Not a tall fence, because you have to go like 12 feet high if you really want to keep deer out. Posts in the ground with a 6-foot welded wire fence that is on one side, and then I took metal T-posts about 4 foot out from that welded wire fence, just do a 3-foot fence. So the deer have not been able to, they've been confused. I've seen them charge that fence as I was chasing them on my UTV, and then skid, put the brakes on, and then run parallel to the fence. So I've seen it in action, and that works well.
Well, I've really enjoyed this little chat. Do you have any other words of wisdom?
Well, thank you, honey. I've never really been one that thought I would enjoy planting flowers, but when you see a field of color and beauty, I think anybody can enjoy that. I find myself just walking, and it brought just such an overwhelming feeling of peace and satisfaction. I find myself, uh, just seeing a bird and saying, "Hello, bird. Hello, tulip. Hello, fence post," and just enjoying it.